This is the Dark Horse style rear spoiler shown here in gloss black, and it is available for your 2024 and newer Fastback Mustang. Now you should be checking out this option for your S650 if you'd like to go with a factory inspired option to deliver that aggressive Dark Horse styling, all with the convenience of being pre-painted and ready to install right out of the box. Now this option will feature a durable ABS plastic build, in addition to including both a smoked plexi and painted gurney flap, and can be had all for right around that $400 price point. All right, so moving into our features block here, and the big features to consider really is the fact that you're getting that aggressive Dark Horse inspired styling, in addition to being pre-painted gloss black, and the fact that you're getting not one, but two gurney flap options, a smoked plexi or gloss painted option, really all at a somewhat affordable price point when compared to other options in the category. Now, I think the pre-painted finish here is one of the biggest features because this saves you from having to go to your local paint shop and then just getting this thing sprayed on your own time. Now, because it is gloss black, I think that gives S650 owners, basically any color S650 owner out there, the option to do this and get some nice color contrast on the rear of the car, all while giving you that true to OE Dark Horse styling, which is rather aggressive. Let's be honest, the factory S650 doesn't really come with the most aggressive spoiler out of the box. Maybe the track package cars, but for the most part, the Dark Horse style option, I think, is the most aggressive, and I think it looks the best as well. Now, moving into construction, and this option, again, as I mentioned earlier, will feature that 100% ABS plastic build, which will be a very strong yet very lightweight spoiler. Now, the spoiler has been built using OEM Ford CAD data to produce an option that not only looks like the original, but also fits like one as well. And that's always a nice thing to point out when we're talking about an aftermarket option, because let's face it, that's not always the case. Now, in addition to that, that gloss black paint job here is certainly really nice right out of the box for a more budget-minded spoiler. And overall, the fact that you are getting two options for the gurney flap is a nice feature that tends to separate this option from some of your more affordable options in the category. Again, you are getting the option of running either the smoked plexiglass option for your gurney flap, or they give you a paint match gloss black option as well. So that's always nice. You have some kind of different looks to play around with if that's something you want to do. And overall, again, the spoiler does assemble with all of the included hardware rather easily, as we'll show you in the install section. All right, price point for this gloss black option with the extra gurney flaps will run you right around $450, which does make this one of the more expensive Dark Horse style options currently on the site. But again, the paint job you have to factor in addition to the added gurney flap stuff that they toss in, certainly does make this a little bit more of a complete option as well. But regardless, if you want to check out the rest of our selection here at AM before making your final decision, definitely never a bad idea. All right, last but not least, let's talk install. And the site's gonna call this a solid 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you at least 45 minutes, maybe a little bit more to get everything in place from start to finish. But now to give you a better idea of how this one might go down in the garage or driveway at home, let's throw it out to the shop for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
Tools required for this install include a ratchet, Phillips head screwdriver, clip remover tool, plastic pry tool, 10mm ratcheting wrench, an extension, T15 torque socket, 7 and 10mm sockets. Today we're installing a spoiler on our Mustang, so let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is pop our trunk and remove this carpet panel. We've got a bunch of push clips holding it in. We've got these rubber plugs that we're just gonna twist out like a screw, and we need to pop off our little cover panel. So I'm taking a clip remover tool to just get behind this one. And I'll pop out all these clips. And then we're just gonna unscrew these. Feed your release tab out and then remove it. So now I'm gonna be removing our spoiler as well as our deck lid panel. So I'm gonna start with these two holes. You've got the same thing on the other side as well. You got a nut behind each of these. So take a 10mm socket and remove those. And just be careful not to drop them. Do that same thing on the other side. Now I'm going to come to the outside. I'm going to pull off this rubber plug, and that's going to reveal a 10mm bolt. Grab a 10mm socket and remove it. Now once again, be careful not to drop it. You can angle the trunk down if you need to get a better angle. And then while we're over here, I'm going to switch to a 7mm socket to remove these two screws. Do that same thing on the other side. And now the last thing holding in our spoiler is this nut right in the center. So grab a 10mm socket to remove that. Get a hand on your spoiler on the other side so you don't drop it. And then we can fold down our trunk and remove our spoiler. So now from the factory, you're gonna have some double-sided tape on here. Our spoiler's been on and off a bunch of times, so our tape doesn't do too much anymore. But if this is your first time taking it off, you can get a plastic pry tool. Just start from the ends, work your way across, lifting it up. And then remove it. Now for our deck lid panel, we've got a couple clips on each side and then just those bolts that are going inside the trunk. So we need to kind of pull this away from the car. So I'm just going to take a plastic pry tool, get in there to lift it up. Pop that out, and then we're going to have to disconnect our backup camera. So you can take that same plastic pry tool or a clip remover tool to get underneath those clips and pop them out. And then we're going to press in on this brown tab on the connector and pop that off. So now I've got our deck lid panel. We're going to have to remove this whole black inner plastic so that we can mount our spoiler to our deck lid. So I've got a T15 torque socket. I'm going to take out the two in the middle for the camera first. Slide that out of there, pop your camera out, and then we'll get the rest of them. There should be one right here that we're missing. There should also be one right here that we're missing. And then we've got the last one over here. And then you can do the same thing on the other side and we'll pop this out. And now we just need to pop this out. So now we're ready to start assembling our spoiler. We've got a bunch of little screws that we're going to be running through the holes and into threaded nuts in the actual spoiler. So I'm going to start with this center section. We're just going to lay it down just like that. Now I would highly recommend a magnetic screwdriver for this. It's going to make your life so much easier. Just throw that screw on there and then you can go down through that hole, line it up with the nut and get it threaded in. Now once you have all four of your screws threading, you can go ahead and tighten them all down. So now we're going to install our side pieces. So once again, I've got a Phillips head screw, my screwdriver. Line up my hole and thread it in. Get the other two in before I fully tighten that one. And then you can fully tighten them down. So now we're gonna have a cover piece for this. So you wanna find the piece of double-sided tape that fits that. Peel off the backing. Get it in there, lined up. And then stick it down. Pick up the corner. And then we're gonna line up our cover. Press that down, stick it on. And then we'll get our stand. We've got these 2 bolts that are just gonna be used to locate these holes, and then we'll thread our 3 bolts in there. And once again, find the adhesive pad that'll line up here. Peel off that backing, line it up, stick it down. Peel the backing off the other side. Line up your cover, stick it down. And then once again, you're gonna find the adhesive pad that fits over here. This is gonna be the one that sticks it down to our deck lid. So I'm gonna pop that circle out so we don't need that. Confirm that this is the right one. Peel your backing, line it up. Stick it down. Then repeat that process on the other side. And now we've just got this one last pad that we need to put down in the center. So I'm gonna pop all the circles out so we don't need those. Peel the backing. Get it over that middle post first. So now I'm gonna peel off all the backing on my double-sided tape, and then I'm gonna take my deck lid and lay it down onto my spoiler. It's gonna be easier to line up that way than trying to put the spoiler onto the deck lid. Then we're gonna grab our spoiler. I wanna line up those circles first. Now once I have that in place, I'm gonna install my nuts onto my studs. So I'm gonna start in the middle. Then we're gonna get one on this one. And we'll get that last one. And now I'm just gonna take a 10mm ratcheting wrench and tighten down all these nuts. Now we can reinstall our plastic. And then we'll grab all of our screws, reinstall them into all the spots that we still have clips. And then again over here we're missing a couple. So I'll skip over to that last one. I'm going to snug all of them down with my T15 torque socket. And then we're going to grab our camera, pop that back into place, slide in the bracket that goes around it, and then we'll thread those two screws in. Tighten those down with your T15. And now we're ready to get this mounted up on the car. Now we can go ahead and plug in our camera and clip in those two clips. And then I'm just going to be lining up all of these studs with their holes. So just kind of walk it in there. Now once you've got this all lined up, you can give it a good push to pop it into place. And then we'll go underneath and install our nuts. So now I'm going to reinstall all my nuts. I'm going to start from the middle and work my way out. So I'm starting with that nut right in the center. I'm going to thread that on and tighten it down. And then I'm going to get my two nuts in the holes on either side. Now the holes that you took the rubber screws out of, you can kind of look through to see what you're doing in there. Once again, just be careful not to drop your nut inside the trunk. And then we'll tighten those down. So now I'm going to come to the outside. We have those two screws to reinstall, and we're going to install our nut here. Now our nut is about the same size as that hole, so I'm going to throw a flat washer on there just so that we get as much clamping surface as possible. And I'm going to take that nut and put it in a 10mm socket to make it easier to get on. You can also tilt this down if you want to, so that you're not coming in at a straight angle. Throw your ratchet on the back, fully tighten it down. And then you can take that plug, pop that back on. And then we're just gonna run in our two 7mm screws, 7mm socket. Do the same thing on the other side. Now we're gonna reinstall our liner. Take your release cable, put that through the hole first. Then I'm going to start threading in my rubber plugs. Just hold it up at the top. Reinstall your latch cover. Tuck this around your wire harness. And then we'll reinstall all our clips. So now I've got two different options for our wicker bill. You can either do the gloss black or the clear one. So you can just kind of hold it up, see which one you like better. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to do the black, but we will show you both in this video. So now we've got our 4 riv nuts. So we're just going to line this up. We've got our black screws to make this kind of invisible. I'm going to line it up, start threading it in. Phillips head screwdriver. And then we can go back, fully tighten them down. I'm going to start in the middle, work my way out. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Dark Horse style rear spoiler in gloss black for your 2024 and newer Mustang Fastback. Thank you for watching, and for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.